Hey everyone, it's Chris and Charlie here with Daily Motor, and today we've got a big green SUV similar to my sweatshirt. It's a little bit dark out today, we're shooting this in the evening, but I am happy to say that we're driving a 2023 Genesis GV80. That sounds good. Here it is, finished in a very beautiful shade of dark green. And Charlie will be pleased to see that we do not have massive wheels. They are 20s, but we do still have a pretty good amount of sidewall here on this GV80.
I remember when the GV80 was first released, and gosh, was it pretty. It's
a beautiful car.
Some idiots like to think that it looks like a Bentley, which, yeah, is it a car? Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, but it doesn't. It doesn't look like a Bentley, and it's not comparable to a Bentley, but it is still quite nice. You probably can't open. Oh, yeah, we can.
Ah, that is a trunk. Ooh, it smells like a Genesis.
Pull this. That's like that's one of the best feeling.
Oh.
Yeah. It's got a real strong pull to it. You're a cargo net enthusiast, as am I.
Yeah. I'm just practicing for the winding road video when I go.
Fondle everything. Yeah. Slight bit of underfloor storage.
What's in there?
Don't open it. We'll just be here all night putting it back together.
Okay.
You can power fold these seats.
Ooh. Okay. Are they actually going to go down? Ooh, just barely.
Yeah. Pretty good load surface there, too. Do they come back up?
They do. The interior is green. Double green spec.
Green on green. Look at this quilted leather. Quilted green leather. How many cars can you get that in these days?
Probably only this.
And this is the Prestige trim, which means you've got heated and cooled outboard seats in the rear here. Yeah, let's just get some light going. We are seeing enthusiasts here at Daily Motor. Ooh, nice and grippy there. Yes, it's a nice Stealthy interior. No 40-20-40 split fold seats. Some people will be a bit bummed by that. Or is it? Actually, maybe it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah, okay. So you can put skis here. Skiing enthusiasts.
Are you a skiing enthusiast?
Yeah, as evidenced by the 3 sets of skis that are in the garage right now. You have climate controls back here, which is good.
I like the Econoline steering wheel. You know what? It's the same steering wheel that's in your pickup truck. Yeah, it's the same one.
It is the same. I should just swap them.
Yeah, you should. They'd never notice.
They never notice. No. Slight bit more. Look at this.
Ooh.
I can be a makeup enthusiast back here. That's
I can
quite
see
nice.
that I am indeed recording.
Yeah. You can.
What percentage am I at, battery-wise? 50. That's enough.
Nice speaker grills from the quite good Lexicon sound system. Check the link in the description to see a review on that. It's good. Shall we take this for a drive?
Yes, but you have to drive.
Oh, it's got power rear sunshades.
Yes, it does.
Nice.
I tried operating them. Go ahead and start it up. I want to see all the lights and everything.
Yes, this is a 3.5 liter turbo option, so it's got the bigger motor. Kind of bland.
Put your hazards on because I want to show these. So you can see we've got some orange lights here. These light up here on the side. So freaking cool looking. This car at night is an experience. And you'll see as well when we get inside that we do have some quite nice ambient lighting. I was just telling them about the ambient lighting. You're gonna break it.
That's kind of fun.
Let's see here. Got ambient lighting not only on the door panels but also on the dash, which is important.
And look, Genesis even thought to deliver it with green ambient lighting on.
Oh,
so it's
yes.
green on green on green.
Yeah, green, 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 green. That's a Chase Atlantic song. It's called Green, Green, Green.
Green, green, green?
Yeah.
Like NASCAR racing. Green, 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 boys.
Yeah. I quite like the long boy.
Yeah, I do
But I
too.
bet you Apple CarPlay doesn't take up the whole screen.
Probably does not.
Which is sad.
Yeah. You know, one thing I like the Genesis does, but I think should be different, and I noticed this having the GV60 last week, these two should be switched. Because when you're sitting there driving, you're going to use this a lot more often than you're going to use this.
That was the biggest thing with Genesis is when you go to shift it, you end up hitting the infotainment. That was the biggest thing I found when we had the GV80 2 years ago, and also with the GV70.
Yeah. If the shifter were farther forward, then you could do your shifting.
Yeah.
And then when you're just sitting here driving, your hand is nicely available
Right.
to do this rotary.
Are the seatbelts great? Can't tell.
Oh, you have passenger talk in here, so you can speak to your rear people. Hey, keep it down back there.
Stop hitting your brother. That's what Charlie's gonna have to say soon.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Child enthusiast.
You are a child. Oh!
What is that?
It is a card key, which is likely not activated. Why have you put my air-conditioned seat on?
Because I like to be a menace. Ooh, right off the bat. Oh, the passenger talk is still on.
You're like, why am I echoing?
Right off the bat, a lot of torque coming in with this motor here. And the gauge cluster looks fantastic. This is the 3D gauge cluster, and it's not even that part that looks cool. I just like the design of the little gauges that they put in.
Freezing.
I think 3D is very silly to have in your gauge cluster. I don't think that's very necessary. That's a good example of like, what do luxury car buyers want? Yes.
Yeah.
A 3D gauge cluster, because
Right.
that's what people
That's what
need.
they want.
Rather than just concentrating on building a very nice place to be.
I do like the dash.
Do you? Is it leather? Yeah. That is a large truck.
Ooh. Oh my god.
Yeah. This thing gets.
Holy crap, it's very quick.
Mm-hmm.
Twin turbo V6.
Yeah.
3.5 liter?
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Only 1,500 miles on this bad boy.
I like how the tack goes this way.
Does that
instead of
bother
that
you?
way. No, I like it.
Okay, good. My snowmobile works like that. And it always makes my father cross.
Oh, it's like an Aston Martin.
Huh.
That's how Aston Martins go.
Okay. So you're saying this is pretty much just an Aston Martin?
Yes.
Mm.
It's a DBX.
It's a DBX, yes.
It looks more like a DBX than it does a Bentayga. I think the main thing and what people mean when they say, oh, it looks like a Bentley, what they mean is that it has a presence like a Bentley does. Because you see this car, and obviously it's not something like just generic, you know?
It does. It stands out.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what people mean when they say, oh, it looks like a Bentley. And also the Genesis badge is reminiscent of the Bentley badge.
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So when people see it, you know, they think, oh, maybe that's a Bentley.
Right.
So, I mean, how often do you see a Bentayga around here?
Not often.
Exactly.
Where are my drive modes?
Does it have drive
Here.
modes? No.
It's a Korean car. It's got to have drive modes. They're all about the gimmicks.
Sport. Oh, it's quick.
You can hear the classic Hyundai Kia ghost in a vacuum cleaner sound that comes through the speakers in sport mode.
Yeah. This is a quick car.
Gauge cluster looks cool in sport mode as well. No manual mode explicitly, but you can shift with the paddles. It's not going to hold gear though. Ooh, free tensioning there.
Oh my goodness!
Feel the back end kind of stuff out
Yeah. It's athletic.
there? It is. And honestly, it does feel pretty decently tight.
Yeah,
like
my goodness.
I'm not doing this and just going like, well, this is ridiculous, like I was in that QX60. This is actually kind of fun.
Yeah, it's fun to drive. Or, well, feels fun. I'm not driving it, but wow.
Back into long-haul pedestrian mode here. Comfort. No silly things like comfort and then comfort plus.
Or what did the Maybach have? Maybach mode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Headrests could be a bit plushier, but not too bad.
Yeah, that's true.
Rough ride section. Quite good.
That's how an SUV should ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been averaging a healthy 10 miles per gallon. Me. You know, you're in for the ride too.
I know. Oh, I can't wait to hear this lexicon.
45 mile an hour test.
Ooh.
I felt a little bit of bump stop maybe there, but overall pretty good. Yeah, this just, it feels cool. They laid this interior out pretty well.
Yeah, they did.
Gotta say. And we talked about this, we keep kind of going back. We've had a few vehicles in this class lately. We just had the Lexus RX and the Infiniti QX60. And this has more of a special layout.
This feels like it sits up a little higher too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it gives you more of the Land Rover vibe.
Yes.
Where you sit in here, you're sitting high above the road, and it's something about too, like the door panels come up a little higher, the dash sits a little higher, and just overall layout is more luxurious, if that makes sense.
Do you like these door panels?
I do.
You're gonna, you really like.
Yeah,
those.
no, I love this interior.
Oh my gosh, nice door handle. Do we have soft closed doors?
Oh my goodness, the seat moved back when I opened the door.
We do have soft closed doors.
No, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Oh yeah.
They take a quick sec, but it does happen. Taillights look nice. Door handle could be a little bit nicer to pull. Oh, did you see the quilting on the inside here?
Yes.
Very nice. Here's a 12-volt outlet under there. See, I'm making up to Chris. I limited his time in the GV60 last week, so he's going to get extra time in the GV80 this week and make up for it. Double pane windows.
Genesis does the best dial shifter.
Yes, they do.
Even though it's in the wrong spot.
It is quite good. I'm going to bump up our ambient lighting game here.
Yeah, make it brighter and make it purple.
Oh, but this car is green.
Yeah, but I want to see purple.
Oh, we have an active sound design menu. That's good.
Oh, great.
Well, no, that's actually good because we can turn it off.
Oh, right.
Oh, that sounds so much better.
God, this thing is quick.
Wait, now do that again, but I'm gonna put the active sound design all the way.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds so much just gruntier and more honest with that off.
Yeah, seating position in this car is... That sounds so silly, but sitting in this car, this feels like a $100,000 car, and the QX60 feels like a $50,000 car.
Yeah. It's almost a good thing that we didn't compare them against each other.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a walk in the park for this. Oh, yeah. Give me that.
Does that make you happy?
It does seem like maybe it needs an alignment, but...
Yeah, 1,500 miles.
Yeah. Oh, it's quiet.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no wind noise.
It's so quiet. Gauge cluster is kind of neat from over here, but you know, I could live without it. I wouldn't tick that box if I had an option.
Right. Yeah, let me see if I can turn that off from here and you can try it without it.
Okay.
That would be cluster. 3D cluster.
Steering is nice, but the steering feel isn't very like Land Rover-y or Lincoln-y or anything. It's still like Hyundai steering.
So there's the 3D off. Does that look better? Or
Oh.
that?
I feel like I'm at the eye doctor.
And there's also a medium.
I like that. That's good. Oh, it got brighter.
Let's turn the welcome sound on. You like those?
I do, yeah. All right. Well, we're going to spend the week with this Genesis GV80. Mostly me, I guess. I'm going to spend like 4 days with it. And hopefully we do some exciting...
That's good.
Why?
I don't know. But before you tell the viewers that, look, in eco mode, you can decouple the transmission from the engine while coasting for better fuel economy. We're going to turn that on. You know me, I'm a fuel economy enthusiast.
That's true, you are. I'm a putting my hands like this enthusiast.
I am too. I think more people should do wheels like it. You know who started that?
Ford.
Well, after them. Mercedes with the S-Class. Last gen S-Class, you could get that wheel.
You said who started it, though.
Yeah, but started it in luxury cars. I doubt that Genesis was looking to the Ford Econoline van for inspiration.
What is that terrible noise?
Some sort of Chrysler product. I mean, I'm not wrong.
No, you're not.
Do I have a massaging seat? Why does Genesis...
Ooh, you giving me a massage?
I was trying to. You have to press your own button. Why does Genesis forsake the passenger with massaging seats? Chip shortage, most likely. But yes, as Chris was saying, something weak with the Genesis. See if it's great.
Waftability, all that stuff.
Yeah, no, don't hear Jerry here. Say that.
Does this? Oh, no camera.
That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah. There are certain brands that don't have the camera review here, and I think that's not good.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to drive this for a week, and we'll see you shortly.
Yep, bye.
Bye. Well, I was going to get a photo of the GV80 here between a couple of giraffes, but unfortunately this is as dim as the car will let you get as far as I know. The DRLs stay on, and there's nothing we can really do about it, and it's quite slick. But good car for this sort of thing.
Okay,
good.
Directly on the other side of that is where we snuck in. So we were in the like area right behind the pits where like all of the people hang out.
Yeah.
And it was kind of sus.
Who snuck in?
Me, everybody, actually.
Oh,
Everybody
there's
went
cars.
to the NASCAR race.
Oh, you snuck into a NASCAR race. Cool, I'm going to put this in the Daily Motor review. That you snuck in and stole.
Matthew thieved.
So what do we think about the GV80 for a touring vehicle, as we
This
should
is
say?
Wonderful.
Look at all these cars here. This is sweet.
This is so fun.
I'm going to say it's good, except when the parking sensors go off every 3 seconds.
Literally.
I'm sad.
You'll be fine. You're getting an SQ7 after this.
But I really, really like this car.
Really?
I do.
Why? Because it's green on green?
No, because it holds a water bottle perfectly in the door pocket.
Or is it because it sings to you when
Yes, when you get in and when you get out.
you get in? Is it because it's got quilted leather where your knees may possibly hit?
Yes, and you want to know what's funny? I drove Matthew in this car, and that was his first compliment, is how soft the surfaces were for his knees and feet.
Ah, comfy knees.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to comfy elbows, but for
That's
tall
right.
people.
What had comfy elbows? 630?
Probably.
Yeah.
Lots of cars have comfy elbows.
I don't know. Okay, so obviously we'll talk about it while we're on the road, but there are things that I like about this car, and there are things that I think they could improve on, certainly.
Well,
this is definitely not my favorite SUV ever, but I would absolutely love to own one of these. I think this would be a good driver, good daily driver.
Before we get into it, you do also have to keep in mind...
you want high.
Yeah, of course. You got to keep in mind the contrasts that we're working with. And we always talk about how, in order to be good uterists, we have to have palate cleansing. And we also had the Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek this week.
Mm-hmm.
So any of your observations of this are going to be skewed from having just gotten out of the Nissan Pathfinder and thinking how much different it could be.
Yes, but we
So just keep that in mind.
we also just had the Infiniti QX60 and the Lexus RX.
That is true.
There's a Keone.
Ah. Gosh, that thing looks cool.
That does look cool.
Better cars back then.
A lot of what I like about this car is the design language, for one.
Yes,
I think
it does
it's
look
beautiful on the outside. It's beautiful on the inside. I love this 2-spoke steering wheel. No one else is really doing anything like this right now.
Well, yeah, because Ford gave it up on the Econoline.
Thank you. As silly
and also,
as...
isn't Mercedes doing that in the S-Class still?
No.
Really?
S-Class has a 3-spoke now.
Hmm.
Big spoke down the middle. It's also remarkably quiet. Not quite as quiet as the Lexus RX, but I'd say 80% as quiet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did tell me how much you appreciated it.
Yeah. The ride is fantastic.
It is quite floaty.
It's a
in
great
good way.
ride.
Mm-hmm. Can I say something that I don't like now?
Yes,
Or
you
do you
can.
wanna keep going?
No, you can go.
I don't like how when you hold the steering wheel at 9 and 3, it's so chunky. You really have to wrap your hands around it.
Like this?
Yeah. Do you feel how much there is to hold in your hand?
I guess.
And then when you move down and you want to say adjust your volume, it's like a big area that your hand. It's not a
Yeah.
very thin steering wheel.
That's true. It's thick, but
It is.
I like being able to drive like this.
Yes, I do like that. I also, and we talked about this in the GV60 review as well, these two should be switched.
Yes, they
the
should.
The shifter and the rotary.
I'm getting a bit more used to it now.
Yeah,
but
it
they
is
should
definitely
be
something
switched.
you get used to, but it's the type of thing where you use this all the time while you're driving, whereas you only need to use this once when you get in and once when you get out, presumably.
That's true.
So why isn't this further away? Also, if you accidentally turn this, it's not a big deal. If you accidentally turn this, it could be catastrophic.
Yeah, but they probably lock you out over a certain mile per hour. Don't. Okay, just put me into neutral, everyone.
No,
Try
I can't
now.
put you back
My
in.
foot's on the brake. It's because my foot wasn't on the brake.
How do you like the infotainment screen?
We're gonna send it ahead of this Kia. I love the screen. I think it's beautiful looking. It works well. I love the Genesis kind of chill screen here with the clouds on the left, or whatever weather you're having. That'll adapt to it, and then your map on the right.
Right, in case you forget how woefully gray it is, both outside and
I know
on
the
ground here,
car
will
reminds you.
remind
Also, Alcantara headliner, beautiful. Extends to the A-pillars, which I like. Lots of extended leather on the door panels. We've got some wood trim going on too.
The general
It's a
color
nice-
and theme inside this cabin is literally just luxury.
It's phenomenal.
It's just classy.
The seats are green, the steering wheel's green, but then you have the really nice brown contrast on the outside of the steering wheel, on the dash. I mean, this entire dash is leather wrapped.
I mean, this is like a dark brown, almost maroon kind of color here, but
Yeah.
it's like so dark inside that you can barely even tell. This is one of the best interior color
Oh,
combos
yeah.
that I've seen in any Genesis for sure, and nearly any luxury vehicle.
Also, build quality.
Quite-
Nice.
Yeah, no.
There's
creaks
no
or
rattles in here, and it's quiet inside this car too.
Yeah.
It's very quiet.
I've never been a huge fan of Genesis's materials. I just think they feel a step below the German and the Japanese cars, but I admit it is pretty nice in here.
Yeah.
Things are soft.
It handles pretty nice too.
It does. That is good chassis.
And I wish it handled worse,
Why is that?
because I wish that this car was more of a traditional SUV. It feels a little bit too much like a sports car to me. And obviously in a situation like that, I like that it can handle itself well, but I don't particularly care for the sporty steering feel that it has. It's kind of a heavy steering, and I wish that it, this is gonna sound funny, I wish it drove more like a Lincoln Navigator.
I can tell you why it's so sporty.
Why?
Chubba Chubba helped tune it, and he is a Cayenne owner.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yes. I'm
Okay.
serious though. He helped in the development process at Hyundai,
Ah.
Hyundai Genesis, and he's a big driving enthusiast. And
It drives great,
Yeah.
but I
It shouldn't
wish
for a car like
I
this.
wish that it kind of was other end of the spectrum where it felt a little bit,
more reserved and more.
yeah. 'Cause
Driving shouldn't be. That's nice. Driving shouldn't be the main focus of this car.
No.
Existing should be.
Yes. The ride, great.
Yes.
However,
Mhm.
it needs more of the Jeep Grand Cherokee L and the Lincoln Navigator, and what else kind
So
of
an air
just
suspension.
perhaps.
Mm.
But I mean, oh, see, there you go.
Wow, you willed that one into
Yeah,
existence.
I manifested that car.
Mhm.
Now we just need a Navigator to come out of somewhere.
Yeah, it could be a little smoother, and I can't help but wonder if 18 or 19-inch wheels would help that. Thicker tires.
It's I don't even think it's that. I think it's just overall just like the tuning and the steering feel and everything. Like I wish I could steer it with my pinky is kind of what I'm
Yes.
trying to say. There's also just this feel that you get in a Navigator, a Mercedes S-Class. Like there's this steering feel that you have in those cars where it's less lock to lock, and it's like just such a light rack in those cars. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
I
No, I
wish
totally do. You're
I
putting it
wish
well.
I wish that this car had that, and I think that would just bring this whole package together to kind of validate Genesis as this high-end brand. Whereas when I'm driving this car, sure, everything feels very nice, but it doesn't drive necessarily like a high-end product, if that makes sense.
I think what it shows is that this is Genesis's first SUV, and they badly needed an SUV to
Yeah.
compete in the marketplace. And it shows how much goes into building not only just a luxury car, but a car in general,
Yeah.
a new model. So they did so much well.
Oh yeah.
And when
Right.
you're talking about a sub $50,000 car or something like that, a lot of those type of things can just be sort of glossed over, and it's like, okay, you got the main parts done. Hyundai Santa Fe, great job, excellent.
Mhm.
But once you start getting into luxury vehicles, you start $60,000, $70,000, you start getting nitpicked.
Yes.
And that's important because when you're paying those type of prices, you shouldn't have to sacrifice anything. I mean, you should really be getting everything you want. And this does a lot really, really well, but then you start getting into the next level. Ambient lighting is a little lackluster.
Yeah, it's not the best.
The easiest to drive. It's not the most comfortable and the most floaty, because there are people who buy like a Ford over a GM or a Hyundai over a Kia, maybe just because they know someone who works at the dealer or their parents have always bought it or something like that. But when you start talking luxury vehicles in this price, buyers are doing their research. I mean, some of them. Obviously, you have the people who just go in and lease something because they think it looks nice.
Right.
Which is fine. But I think people are going to start being like, well, why exactly? What am I getting for that price? And
Right.
really starting to look into the finer details. So I think you put that well. That, yeah, I mean, there's cool things like 3D gauge cluster.
Mm-hmm.
But what really matters is those almost the things that don't show up on the spec sheet.
Yes.
The heft of the steering and yeah, how it feels when you go over more wallowy bumps.
Yeah.
And that's where I felt when we drove the X5 back to back with this car. The X5 excelled at those intangibles better.
Yes.
So I do love this
Yeah.
car as well, and I'd like to drive it here back to the garage.
And
but
yeah, and I hope that, you know, like you said, what was the first model year for this car? 2021, 2022?
something like that, yeah. I mean, yeah,
They're very early to this, and they've still got time to make this car phenomenal.
a life cycle impulse on this.
I know.
They have a chance to just tweak the exterior just
Yep.
to make it look fresh again.
Mhm.
You know, right up top, make it look just as
Right.
sexy as before, and then do little bits to the tuning to just really
Exactly.
continue that step up.
Right. BMW's had since 1998, you know?
Yeah.
They've had since last year.
Yeah.
So I think that if they get a couple more things right, like you said, this is going to be like class leader.
Yeah.
100%.
Soft closed doors are nice.
Yes. And the Lexicon sound system is fantastic.
Very solid A tier.
Yeah.
I like the wheels.
Yeah, the wheels are nice. Not too showy.
Yeah.
DRLs and turn signals look awesome too.
Did you
Nice
see that
thick
you have,
floor mats.
Subwoofer under the seat?
No.
Subwoofers under each.
No, but I believe it.
Wow, we put a lot of miles in this car.
Did we?
Yeah.
How many miles were on it when we got it?
I think like 16 or something.
Oh.
16, 17. It's not a problem. It's just, I mean, it shows I spent a lot of time in it. You spent a lot of time
Yeah,
in
I
it.
drove it. Oh! I want to talk about something else. So you all would have seen in the middle of this, I took this to the Christmas light display at MIS.
Mm.
And that day, it was like raining or snowing or what. It was like freezing rain, so the roads were a little sketchy. These tires didn't feel super great in those conditions. They got me through. It was fine, whatever. There were a lot of little electronic things that were driving me nuts in this car because the parking sensors always default to on. And when I was going slow through this Christmas display, the parking sensors were going off constantly. And I got out and I brushed them all off and everything, and I couldn't see anything that was like on them. But every time I slowed down to like under 10 miles an hour, I had to hit this button because the parking sensors were going haywire.
Wow.
Also, it beeps at you every time you go over a line, and it's just it's a consistent thing among Genesis, Kia, and Hyundai. And we talk about this as proper uterists that like we don't want to be beeped at for every input,
No.
and that was probably the most irritating thing about this car.
This car is a beeping enthusiast.
It is certainly a beeping enthusiast, so I didn't like that, but
I like the commanding presence you have sitting in the driver's seat here. The hood looks nice. It looks elegant.
oh yeah,
It
you
almost
sit very
looks
high.
borderline, kind of similar to the Rolls-Royce Cullinan to a lesser degree.
Right.
But where you sort of look out over this immense hood, and it looks nice.
Yeah, you get a presence in this car, and it does feel like Land Rover-ish from the seating position,
Mm-hmm.
but that's kind of where it ends.
I'd like to point out 19.2 mpg over the last 270 miles.
Yeah, and I got like 23 on my fuel economy test.
It's not great.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And that's where, if you're buying something like an X5, you'll actually save a few $100s a year just
I was
in
gonna
fuel
say
costs.
the X5 would get like 28 probably with the
especially
B58.
With,
Yeah,
with our favorite motor.
exactly. So
There is an interesting element with the Genesis products, especially this GV80. You can feel both cooler than most people,
Mhm.
but also under the radar at the same time.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you don't look like an a-hole like you would in a Mercedes or a BMW or
Sure.
an Audi, but you also look really nice.
Yeah.
Like people look at this car and they're like, Oh wow, like that looks really nice. What is that? Chris is a 7-year-old and can't avert his eyes from the shiny flashing lights.
No, I agree with that. I was thinking that yesterday as I'm driving down M14 and there's all these degens going 68 in the left lane, and I'm flying at some miles per hour around them in the right lane, and I'm like, no one's suspecting this.
No.
No one even knows what this car is. They're like, it's just and it's quick.
It is.
Yeah, it's quite quick.
It's quick, but the motor certainly doesn't have any sort of character like
No,
inline 6.
no, it doesn't.
It's a bland.
Oh, could you imagine an inline 6 in this car, or like a super silky V8? Oh,
Genesis's 5-liter. Genesis's 5-liter was a great motor.
yeah,
That took that speed bump pretty well.
yeah, it did. So,
Yeah, I like this car.
I really like this car.
I
don't love it, but I do really like it. Did I say in the beginning that I
very
loved
like
it? Maybe I do love it, but okay. I like it. Maybe I love it, but it could be better.
Okay. Watch out, Emily. My last anecdote with this car is there is a gentleman who owns an auto parts shop off of our test loop, and I met him back when I was buying parts for my Escape, and I had a Navigator then, and he's asking me about the Navigator and everything. He's kind of a buyer, a shopper in this class, if you will. I can't remember what he owned at the time, but they were looking for something new in this class, and kind of a luxury car buyer. And I was like, kind of gave him our usual recommendations and stuff. And when I had this, I finished up the Winding Road Drive in the day, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to swing by and show him this, because I just had a little extra time and stuff, and he's a nice guy. So I swung into the auto parts shop there, and he had already left for the day, but his son was there, and his son's like a late high schooler. He watches the channels and everything like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. So if you're watching, shout out, buddy. And his son comes out and he's like, oh no, he left, but man, this is awesome. I'm like, yeah, I wanted to swing by, show it to your dad, because I know that they were kind of shopping. This would have been a good car for him, because his kids are older now and stuff. And he's like, dude, you're not going to believe it, but they literally just yesterday picked up their new BMW X7. And I'm like,
all right, well, there
fair
you go.
enough. Yeah.
Door handles feel nice.
They do. And you don't even have to slam them closed, because again, soft closed doors.
Yeah, let's show that.
The chrome bits on the outside kind of work for me as well. Like
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the styling overall on this car. So.
It's like a very classy slug.
Yeah, because it's very curvy. She is curvy. Would you say so?
I would say. It's remarkable that it doesn't get better fuel economy for how flowy it is.
All right, well, we like this car quite a bit, and we hope for the life cycle impulse, to use BMW's terms, that it gets even better. Well, that'll wrap it up for us today. Charlie, any last thoughts?
Big grill. Nice big soccer player grill.
That's right. Okay. Well.
Also, shout out to Argentina for winning the World Cup.
Okay, thank you.
If you're a World Cup winner, consider a GV80.
Oh, yes. Or
but
if
it's
you're...
okay, because you probably will have already bought a GLS.
Okay, and on that bombshell, that's going to wrap it up for us today. We'll see you in the next one. We're Chris and Charlie with Daily Motor, and as always, green on.
Do you think they should come out with like a performance version of Genesis's?
No.
But you were a big fan of that AMG GLE 53.
Yeah, but that's Mercedes.
Well, why can't Genesis do that?
Because this car doesn't need to be sporty. We've already gone over that. It shouldn't be sporty.
But by that same argument, a GLS doesn't need, or a GLE doesn't need to be
Yeah,
sporty.
but Mercedes has that pedigree of AMG.
But how do you start pedigree? You got to start somewhere. Why shouldn't Genesis start it?
I don't know, because I think that this should... I think that they should be more like Lincoln and Rolls-Royce.
Oh, because first of all, I think Rolls-Royce would never give us another car again if they ever heard us compared to Lincoln within the same sentence. And second of all, look how well that's worked for Lincoln over the last 20 years. The company is on life support.
I guess they could do a performance version, but it would have to still be very soft.
So you don't want an M
Genesis? No, and I think that the GLE 53 kind of accomplished that, because the GLE 53 was still cozy in most ways. So I think if they could do a version of this car that was still comfy, but I guess maybe just had a V8 or something. I mean, I wouldn't want like an X5, like a stupid X3M style GV80, because I don't like that car. I think it's stupid.
What about an Alpina version though?
Yes, that's what they would need to do. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
If they took the Alpina way of life, because Alpinas are fabulously comfortable, but also very fast.
Yeah, but yet can also do 200 miles per hour.
So yes, I take back what I said about them not having to have a performance company.
So you just need to
They
turn
could
this
have
badge
an
a little
Alpina.
blue and
Yeah,
some
they did
gold. This is how the badge could look. It could be sort of like these elements are gold now, and then there's like a blue around here.
Yeah.
And it's Genalpina. Genesis. Alpina.
Right. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Well, drive on.